Whether the outdoors is the focus of your vacation, like a backpacking trip, or you just want to try something new, like taking a surfing lesson in Hawaii, we have some ideas for you.
There are so many ways to enjoy the things that our world has to offer. Let's explore some of those things on land. Let's start out with backpacking, which is my favorite way to do some outdoor travel. Backpacking, you pack all your stuff into a backpack and you go out, hike a trail, and you live out of your backpack for a day or a couple days. Then there's also camping or car camping, where you load up everything in your car, you drive out to a state park or a campground, you set up your tent, and you live out of your car for a couple days, enjoying nature and getting to spend time with family or friends. Next up is hiking. This is a great day trip activity, an opportunity to get out in nature, away from people, and explore the outdoors.
Even if you're not an outdoor person like me and would never go on a backpacking trip willingly, hiking is a great way to add a little nature and a little activity into your vacation and see something off the beaten path.
Another one that's great to get outdoors and explore with is geocaching. It's like a treasure hunt for adults.
We have 2 geocaching posts on Jaunty Everywhere, and we will link them in the description below.
Then we have running and cycling. These are great ways to cover more ground in a shorter period of time while still being outside and getting to explore wherever you're visiting. Some more extreme land sports include mountain climbing, which is exploring mountains by getting to the top or summiting the top of a mountain, or rock climbing, going outdoors and doing some bouldering, which is climbing rock cliffs that are 10 feet or below, or doing some rope climbing, which are 20 feet or higher walls. Horseback riding, you could go caving, exploring caves in the area that you're visiting. Mountain biking, taking your bicycle out on mountain trails or backcountry trails. Or sand sledding, which is taking a sled and sliding down sand dunes.
A couple activities that we did often when the kids were little were geocaching and orienteering. They were both fun as a family. We already talked about geocaching. Orienteering is using a map and compass to find a treasure. You will go through an orienteering organization that sets the courses up. They're usually on designated days, and that's the best time to go because there will be people there with experience to help you get started, even if you're brand new. We will link to some resources for that in the description below.
Next up, we have water sports or water-related activities. Let's start out with whitewater rafting, which is usually a tour you can take, or you go with a company and they set up a raft with a group of people and you go out and float along on some white water. So it's not exactly floating, it's more like getting splashed a lot. But it's great fun, and especially if you have a tour guide, it's very safe.
Are there different levels for people with different adventure risk?
Yes. Whitewater rafting typically is rated in classes, so there are 5 classes. 5 being the highest level of rapids that someone has gone over. There are 6 classes, I just found this out, but 6 is non-raftable unless somebody rafts it and then it gets bumped down to a level 5. Kayaking and canoeing are also great water sports. Many places with water have rental shops nearby. There's also supboarding or stand-up paddleboarding. This is a flat board, kind of like a surfboard, but a bit wider and longer, and you stand up on it and float around with a long paddle.
I will add that I have a stand-up paddleboard, which I have yet to stand up on, and I still have a blast. I have a kayak paddle that I use with it and tool all around the lake. I call it my very expensive floaty, and I'm having a blast. I hope to someday stand up, but I'm having fun with it anyway.
So you can sit down cross-legged, especially if the water that you're on is a little bit choppier. I find myself sitting down a lot in that kind of water. And then as the water is more glassy and even, you can stand up and practice your balance. Surfing is a great one if you're near the coast. Even Oregon and Washington State have surfing spots, though the water is cold, so you'll probably need to use wetsuits. I've gone surfing with my husband and friends, and it's a great time, a great experience. I'm terrible at it. I usually don't stand up, but it's still fun to get out in the waves and experience being a wannabe surfer. Of course, there's swimming and snorkeling for lakes and near the coast, or in places that are tropical that you can look at coral reefs and things like that. There's also scuba diving, which takes more training. You'll have to take a class. Some places have short classes that you can take before renting equipment and going out on your own. Some places require you to have a certification in order to go out on your own. And then there are some more extreme water sports like windsurfing, and there's lots of other things like that, like kite surfing or foils that are floating out on the water with a kite or a sail or some other piece of equipment, whether you're on a board or floating on top of the water. There's lots of water and wind sports available.
We have a companion blog post on all of these outdoor activities, pointing to more articles and blog posts and beginner's guides to help you get started in any of these activities. If you like getting outdoors when you travel, give us a like on this video so we know to do more outdoor activity videos.
Now let's get into some of the sky sports, starting out with zip lining, where you start out on the ground in a harness and then you attach to some sort of cable and you glide along through the air on the zip line. Next is skydiving. This is for the more extreme adrenaline junkies, jumping out of an airplane and coming down to the ground using a parachute. And then there's hot air ballooning. This tends to be a tour or a rental kind of situation, but you can see a vast majority of the landscape that you're visiting. Paragliding, jumping off a cliffside or a high elevation area and using a parachute to glide to the ground. And now let's get into some snow sports. First, you have the classic snow sports, skiing and snowboarding. You'll need a mountain for these typically, and often you'll go skiing at a resort location or ski slope. You can also try cross-country skiing and snowshoeing, which is one of our more favorite snow sports. It's where you're wearing webbed shoe-like structures on your feet that just spread out the surface area of your weight so that you can walk on top of the snow.
What outdoor activities would you like to try on your next vacation? Did we miss anything? Leave a comment below. Thanks for watching and happy travels.
First, we'll start off with the land activities.
Stupid.
Look the camera right in the face.
This is a new one.
And I'm crying over here for no good reason. I'm just so emotional, guys.
About backpacking.
Backpacking.